Hi. The last few days I have actually been a little depressed. I'm slowing down a little bit, not wanting to go out and take my pictures as much as I was. Just maybe not wanting to drive quite as much. Anyway, um, I'm just, I've been a little depressed. Honestly, I've just been a little depressed. Um, don't have as much, get up and go to go out and take the pictures, if you will. Anyway, part of it I think is the car, the car I'm in. It is a little older. It does have, it's not old, but, it's a few years old. And it does have a lot of miles. It has a ton of miles. Um, and it's very small. It's very, very small. It's very tiny. So that's one of the things I think lately that I've really been, it's really got kind of getting me down. um I'm in a process, as I've stated in other videos, I'm in a process of looking for a vehicle. um I would really like to find a van. I've actually been looking for a van for a couple of years. I started with looking for a custom van, and then kind of couldn't really find that, so I started looking at other vans like minivans, something maybe that I could modify. Not, I don't have any skills though, so that's kind of, I don't know. However, I've been watching some of the videos that the Cheap RV Living guy does, and he has Bob, and he has, there's just some really, really nice videos, really good videos on how to modify a minivan, with little to no carpentry skills. So that's, I've been watching his videos, try to get ideas so that if, I do, find a van, or if not now, maybe in the future, it definitely will, there's a lot of good ideas, a lot of good ideas. So I definitely want to, you know, anyway, I've been watching some of his videos, and he does a few really good ones on how to with little to no skills, how to, or the no build, how to do that. So right now I'm not sure if I'm going to find a van, because there's just every single van I find, and I'm really looking for a Toyota maybe, or a Honda, and I'm just not finding, low enough miles. I'm just not finding it. I'm not finding low enough miles. Um, uh, you know, right price, low enough miles. I mean, the miles are just tons on a lot of the ones I'm finding, and I don't want one with a ton of miles. It, I don't care what it is, if it's Honda, Toyota, I don't care. It must have good mileage. Anyway, some of the Dodge Grand Caravans have, not bad. Pricing is better, but again, it's a little outside of my price range, and getting a loan, that's challenging. That's something that I don't know if I can do. I have crappy credit. Plus, I was reported as deceased, a few years ago, and that really wiped out my credit. In fact, I was actually found an attorney online that might be able to help me with that, as far as, being, you know, reported as deceased, and whatnot. But that's another story. I just talked to him today. That's a whole other thing. I'll come back and maybe talk more about that later. Anyway, but for now, the main thing is I'm looking for another vehicle. Now, it seems that every time I find something that's a good choice, it gets gone. So I've been looking for a couple of months, trying to find something, and I haven't yet found it. So hopefully I do. There's a couple cars on my list that I absolutely will not buy, but or won't look at unless I'm desperate. Anyway, but yeah, lately I've been a little depressed, and I just, I'm trying to snap out of it. But the little car, that doesn't help. Not, don't get me wrong, I love the little car. As I stated in another video, I kind of traded with my ex-husband, because the car I was in, the midsize sedan I was in, which I liked a whole lot better, is just not running. It just didn't run right. And it's something wrong with it. I don't know. I've had it in a few times. They can't figure out what's wrong with it. Don't know. So I felt like it just wasn't safe to drive. And he only drives a little bit. He drives just around town, a few miles. So I figured it'd be a better option. And he agreed. He agreed. So we kind of traded. I took his little car, which has been super, no problems, and he's driving my car. Well, I talked to him the other day, and come to find out, he's not very happy with the car because it's running really, really bad. And he said he thinks it needs a tune-up. Supposedly it had a tune-up. The dealership was supposed to have done a tune-up. So if it needs a tune-up, then undoubtedly they didn't do the tune-up like they were supposed to do. Again, that's a whole other story. Anyway, but he's getting a little edgy, and antsy about it because he's not liking the fact it's not running very well. So, I'm going to have to, hopefully soon, hopefully I would like I said, I'd like to find a van, but considering the car's not running right, he's not liking it. I'm going to have to maybe try to speed up try as best I can, speed up the process and find myself a car. So, because it's kind of at that point now where, I'd really like to have a van. I'm not finding what I'm looking for. I'm not finding the right price, right mileage. And since I got to pay cash, I am paying cash for it. So it's got to be something that I can afford. So as of right now, it's kind of like, okay, rock in a hard place. I'm going to have to find another car. And, needs versus wants, needs versus wants. My want is to find a van, but if in lieu of that, I'm going to have to find something else. And hopefully, and I just absolutely refuse. I mean, I'd like to find a van, but hey, if I can't find that, then a car. But I refuse to accept a small car. It has to be a mid-size, a good mid-size car. Now, I've owned a Chevy Impala, and I really, really like that. It worked very well. So, I'd like to find another Impala. Even though the transmission started going out at 72,000, I still would love to find another Impala. But in lieu of finding a Chevy Impala, I would like to, in lieu of that, something else. I mean, my personal favorite, what I'd really like to find, and this is hands down, as far as comfortability, travel, comfortability, even sleeping. I mean, being able to sleep in the front seat of a Chevy Impala, it is like, and driving the car, it's like sitting in an easy chair to drive. I mean, I drove that car, like I said, I think I said in another video, I took it on 4 cross-country trips, multiple little trips, drove it for hours at a time, never got tired. It was just a phenomenal riding travel car. It it really was a nice car. And, I wouldn't mind. I can tell you, as far as driving and comfortability and being able to really, really stay out in the car for months at a time with, the Impala definitely is at the top of the list for that one. My personal favorite, and the one that I really would like to find, though, and not my personal favorite, the car I would really like to find would be a Toyota Camry. I've heard they're good. They're reliable. They go a long time, lots of miles. So I would surely like to find a Toyota Camry. But I've been looking, and I just haven't been able to find it. I mean, every time I find a Toyota Camry and I have found a few of them, but every time I find one that I want, or I want to go look at, it's already gone. If it's priced good, it's gone. It just does not, they just don't last. I mean, they sell like the day they go out, the day the lot puts them on their website, pretty much they go. And so it's been tough. I've been looking for several months, and I mean, I've actually been looking over probably, you know, I've been off and on looking for the you know, van for a couple of years, but I've also looked at Camrys, and you know, but anyway, I've been looking at Camry now for a few months, and I just can't find it. Um, Ford is the one that I found a lot of that's real priced really, really good. But you know, I said, no, I'm not going to, you know, no Ford. No Fords. Not buying a Ford. Although I did have, you know, Ford Focus, or rather my ex-husband did, and I drove it. Oh God. He's got a couple of them. He had a couple of them, and I loved it. It's just a phenomenal, good, you know, it's a good riding little car too. I mean, for a small car, it's not bad. But another Ford, I really, you know, he had another one that was kind of crappy. He had a crappy motor in it, just crap, older crap. So, but anyway, but there's a lot of others, you know. I mean, I've Honda Accord. I've test driven the Honda Accord. I wasn't really too pleased with it, although that's definitely on my list. But again, have actually found a couple of Accords. They've slipped away before I could, you know, go look at them or test drive them. So I don't know, you know, and, you know, to begin with, I kind of had it like Toyota Camry, you know. I only want to look at Toyota Camry, okay. And then I wasn't finding what I was looking for, so I said, okay, maybe I'll look at Honda Accord. Okay, well, I'm not really finding that either. They're all getting gone, so I said, well, let me expand. I'll look at Chevy Impala, and I have found a couple of those. And I think in another video I did say that I found one Chevy Impala, but that I liked, but I ended up rejecting it because of the fact that it was a Michigan car, and when I test drove it, it popped and cracked on the steering. Steering was popping. I said absolutely not. I found a Buick Century that I really liked. I really did like that car, priced phenomenal price. And I would have definitely taken that car, but it was a main car and it had visible rust. So, I mean, God only knows what kind of rust issues it had up underneath the car. So I had to reject that one as well. It did ride and handle really, really well, though. So I really, really like that. But as of right now, you know, I'm still looking. I'm looking for another car. You know, I want to find something else that will, you know, suffice. Um, but as I've kind of said earlier, I'm at a point now where beggars can't be choosers. I need another car, and, you know, I don't have a choice. I got to find another car. So, and, you know, I kind of, you know, and that's something else that's kind of depressing me a little bit, because I kind of got pushed into a situation that I really, you know, wasn't ready for, wasn't prepared for. You know, I wasn't at that point where I wanted to buy another car, or I felt like I needed to buy another car, but all of a sudden I just got pushed into it, you know, with a car that's been impossible. You know, they can't, you know, something wrong with it, and they can't figure it out, and it's just, you know, it's been in the shop, you know, and multiple times, and you know, and multiple issues, and they just can't figure it out. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, at this point, you know, there's little that I can do except look for something else. And so anyway, that's something that's that's kind of got me a little down, because I didn't really want to be in that position. There's some other things, you know, there's other things too. My dad's probate, that's another issue. Issues with people that I thought were my friends. That's a whole other issue. That's a whole other video. You know, to find out, you know, I mean, you know, to find out some of the people I thought were my friends really aren't my friends. And, you know, and my ex-husband tells me, oh, it's got to do with my ex-boyfriend, whatever, you know, and I'm like, no. You know, one of the issues, you know, was a friend that I thought, I mean, I never really did not know. It turns out, bottom line is, it turned out that she's basically she's basically a racist, and I didn't know it, or I've never. I mean, I guess it. I mean, it never really. That's not something I guess that people really talk about, I guess. I mean, I don't know. She certainly, it was just something that came up, and it came up, and I have zero respect for that. So, and I won't have anything to do with anyone who has racist views. Anyway, that's a whole other video, and I'll probably come back talk a little more about that later, because that really affected me, to find out, to find out what she was really like. And I mean, I guess maybe I'm too trusting. I don't know, but I just, to find that out, it just really burnt, it just really burned me, and so it made me angry, because and the way she acted, and the way she, it's just really, believe me, I've got some really harsh things to say about her, because she, the way she acted, the way, what I found out, and the way she acted, it really, it's just, that's a whole other video, and something that I'll come back later, because I really don't want to get into that now. But it's just something I kind of do want to talk about. But that's another issue too. I mean, there's the probate, there's finding out some of the people I thought were friends are really not my friends. Of course, I'm having some issues with my ex-husband. I mean, he's driving my car, I'm driving his. We've been friends, we're still friends, but and he's taking care of an elderly, someone, basically family, elderly, and then that's another thing. So he's having his issues there. Um, so there's a lot going on, I mean, outside of, this whole, being in my car, and there is some other things I talked about, some civil issues, and some court, and some civil, and some other issues, as well as all this stuff. So, aside from being in my car, and, and how I got here, because I talked a little bit about that, the whole ex-boyfriend, and how, he was kind of, I don't know what you'd call that, I guess toxic, because he was possessive, and it was controlling. It got to a point where I felt like the only out, I really just had to get out of it. So, and I'm kind of between things right now, I mean, yeah, the place I do have, to live, it's, I think I said in another video, I told everybody, I have a boat, not my boat, but a boat that I've been renting from a friend, but it's undergoing a bunch of work, and undergoing some stuff. So I don't really have that right now. But I also have a lot going on, 500 miles away, that I have to take care of with my dad's probate and all of that. And so anyway, right now I'm a little depressed, because I got a lot on my, I got all this stuff, there's a lot going on, besides just being in my car, there's a lot going on. And, and it's like, when it rains, it pours, you got one or two things, and all of a sudden, your whole plate's full. So, and it's like, I can't seem to get stuff off my plate before more stuff gets piled on it. So yeah, I'm a little, anyway, at the end of this video, I will give a short, I will just, have a little, show some of the pictures of the car I'm in. Now, this is not obviously what the car looks like now. These pictures were taken before I got into the car, and before I put my stuff in the car. So, you can kind of get an idea of what, how I'm, what I'm in. I'm in a small car, and you can kind of get an idea of that. Of course, it's completely clean. There's nothing in it. That they were pictures that were taken, that my ex-husband took. So, but it's, anyway, kind of give you an idea of my arrangement, if you will. Don't get me wrong, I like the car. I love the little car, but I do need something. I do want something bigger. So, maybe not a van, but something bigger. So anyway, I'll end this video for now. And if you're watching, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.